I see a raised hand. Go ahead, Jesus. I just allowed you to speak, so go ahead and and uh, uh, and unmute on your end. Did you have a question, Jesus? Okay, we'll come back. I'll just keep it on the raised hand for you there, Jesus. Okay, so this slide. So for anyone who just joined, welcome to the Public Landscaper Workgroup meeting on small off-road engines. I'm again Navashni Mitchell. I go by Ash, an air pollution specialist at the California Air Resources Board, or CARB. I'm joined today by several of my colleagues, Manisha Singh, Chief of the Quality Management Branch, Christopher Dilbeck, Manager of the Testing and Certification Section, who is my supervisor, Matthew Holmes, Jenna Ostad, Catherine Garrison, and Michelle Donlop, who are in the Testing and Certification Section, and Joshua Lowell from the Mobile Source Control Division. We will start with a recap from the last meeting. Hear landscape experiences with zero emission equipment, hear about smart charging technology, and have a panel discussion on incentives. We also have time for questions and answers. Please feel free to put questions in the Q&A. We will answer questions from the Q&A and call on those with raised hands. I just wanted to check in. Jesus, if you're asking the question in Spanish, we'll just let one of the interpreters let us know.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, we can hear you now, Jesus.
Sounds good. Okay, no questions so far.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I'm gonna go on to the next slide. Before we begin, let's have a quick recap from our previous meetings. We have received a handful of nominations for businesses to serve on the panel of landscapers and have confirmed with those businesses that they are willing to serve on the panel. Some of those panelists shared in previous meetings. Our panelists will participate in the landscape experiences with zero emission equipment and incentive section. We are still accepting nominations. You may review our presentations from previous meetings on what we envision for the panel. We encourage landscapers to let their legislators know that they want more incentive funding. We received questions regarding incentives for larger businesses. These are available in some air districts through the Carl Moyer program. Representatives from several air districts are here today participating in the incentives question and answer panel. We have received some questions about electrical infrastructure and the potential need for upgrades to electrical service. A strategy to reduce the need for additional electric circuits is the use of power management systems. Multiple chargers can be plugged into these devices, and one can cycle through charging several batteries unattended, with charging stretched out over a course of time. We have invited Exmark or Toro and Husqvarna to speak on their technology today. As a reminder, this work group meets 4 times a year. Next slide, please. The SOAR rules apply to manufacturers for producing new engines. These need certification in order to be sold in California. The rules do not have requirements for equipment owners. So equipment may continue to be used and repaired, and certified equipment in stores may continue to be sold. Next slide, please. CARB has received authorization from the US EPA regarding the SOAR regulations. This authorization decision was published in the Federal Register on January 6th, 2025. CARB will focus on outreach and education in 2025, and full implementation of the SOAR regulations will begin with model year 2026. CARB will issue executive orders for 2025 engines that meet the 2023 standards. CARB issued a manufacturer's advisory correspondence in January 2025 that includes more information about the implementation of the rules. Dealers and other retailers may continue to sell certified equipment from 2024 and from 2025. There is no requirement to stop selling certified equipment. You may find additional information about the updated rules in our presentations from previous workgroup meetings and in other documents on the CARB website. Next slide, please. We have asked landscapers on the panel to share their experience with zero emissions equipment and incentive programs. We have Blake Meal of Garden View Landscaping here today to speak. And let me find you, Blake. Let me see. Okay, so
I think I made it.
yeah, there you are. So let's go to the first of the prompts. Okay, so we have some speaking prompts here for you, Blake, and I will open the floor now to discuss the first prompt, which is, what are the top 3 benefits of switching from gas to zero emissions equipment?
I guess it would probably be, for me, my favorite has been lack of maintenance for the equipment. And so we discovered once we had we scaled up to having a on-site mechanic. They ended up having to do every little bit of service on our motorized equipment. And so every little filter, every bit of, just two-stroke oil supply or changing out some sort of blade or issue always has to get done by this mechanic. Now it's just a little bit of sharpening and the occasional clean out of ports and stuff. Just makes for a lot less service and maintenance. There's the quietness is huge because we've been able to start earlier at job sites with less problems. I think not necessarily all machines or manufacturers are created equal. We're trying those out and getting a feel for what's the perks are for you and what you're looking for. But we used to not be able to start at 7 a.m. at HOAs without having the pitchforks come out, and now we don't seem to hear about it, which is awesome. Plus, lower fuel bills is excellent. And it's safer, hearing wise and exhaust wise for the guys. So the list keeps going.
Thank you. Let's go to our next prompt, Matt. Okay, next prompt is, what are your hesitations to switch from gas to zero emissions equipment?
The hesitations were around the just adoption from the guys using the equipment. It's easy for me in my office to crunch numbers and say that it makes sense, but there's a different set of there's a different approach to using those tools. They're not going to run no matter what, really, as long as the potential of a gas blower. We've gotten past the issues of power capacity, and they're pretty close in weight difference, so that wasn't too much of a hesitation. The real issue and concern was runtime and maintaining enough charge while out on the go, which there's plenty of strategies to navigate that. And so that once we got the equipment and now my crews, they were mostly concerned about power. They didn't think that anything electric was going to get the job done. But once we dispelled that, then it just became a more adaptation to the refueling effectively of by changing the batteries and having enough power on tap.
Gotcha. Thank you. The next prompt is, what is your charging strategy for your batteries?
Yeah, we use Crest Power equipment and have their cyber tanks on our trucks, which are a big 7.2 kilowatt hour holding cell of charge. And then we have a shore power port that comes into the side of the truck. So our trucks are all enclosed. So the guys can pull up at the end of the day, they plug in at the yard, they effectively just plug their truck in, and then that charges their cyber tank and the batteries that are on the cyber tank. And then by the time the morning's up, those batteries are ready to go, and so is the tank, and they make it through the day pretty well.
Nice. Last prompt is, what incentive programs, sorry about that. What incentive programs have helped you purchase zero emissions equipment?
Yeah, we used the South Coast AQMD to exchange tons of equipment. It's a massive help. Uh,
Yeah, thank you, Blake. Um, I guess we can go on to our next slide. And now we will take questions on Blake's landscaper experience. So if you have a question, please raise your hand or type your question in the Q&A. And I see one raised hand. So I'm going to open the mic on my end, Luis, and you have to unmute on your side and go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, my question would be in regards to connecting that trailer back when you were at your yard. What upgrade did you have to do to your infrastructure to enable that?
yeah, that's the biggest trick. And took a little bit of learning curve. Felt like we jumped into this electric stuff a bit at the beginning of the pack, I guess, and so I did have to run a line to make sure that I had at least. I think I ended up having to pull 60 amps of power to the cage that we keep our trucks enclosed in, and so you're going to need a 20 amp breaker that per charge location, per truck or vehicle. As Ash mentioned, there's these uh, cycling power managers that will kind of use if your truck is parked for 12 hours overnight, it only takes 4 hours to charge one of the items. It can work through sequentially, so you could charge four, say 4 hour charge need items. Well, I guess that'd be three. I can do math, I swear. And then so you need each. I'd suggest a 20 amp breaker per overnight dedicated charge setup. If that makes sense.
It does. Thank you.
Go ahead, Luis.
Oh,
Sorry, did you have another question, Luis?
No, yeah, he definitely explained everything, especially I guess you need a dedicated I guess you need a dedicated system per trailer. But yeah, that was my question on the update of the infrastructure. So
no, I would say you could probably, I would just really say you could probably do three trailers off of one dedicated breaker if they only had that 4 hour charge demand. So now if you have a big riding mower that takes all night to charge, that now you're probably going to need the dedicated breaker to make it through your batteries for your low trim equipment and your riding mower. But if you're doing still gas ride mowers, let's say, and then you could probably pull up multiple trailers of garden equipment. It all depends on the demand and what to kind of accommodate your strategy to that.
thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Luis. Thank you, Blake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking if there's more questions. There's no raised hands, and I don't see any Q&A questions.
I literally think what Luis asked is the only challenge and prohibiting factor, at least with all the rebate availability that we had, and I'm not sure what the status of it is currently, and how much is available if it is, but it is a big, the guys will like the equipment if they use it, if it's at the right price point because of the rebate, you've got a good thing going, but having the ability to, we keep our trucks at nursery yards that are in, under power lines, which we can hear the power running, but there's no outlet to plug into it. And so there's getting that infrastructure, it can be the tricky part, but apparently there's also incentive programs and assistance to get those kind of infrastructure changes updated that weren't available when I did it.
Yeah. We featured it on one of the work groups, the help there.
Nice.
Well, if there's no more questions, I don't see any raised hands, we can go on to the next slide. Okay. So we've got a short poll, everybody, and this is just to see the audience composition. So let me go ahead and launch that poll. So this one's industry segment. And I've gone ahead and launched that poll. So we'll give everybody, say, a minute to just go ahead and answer that question. And I'm seeing the bar, no, the bars are still moving. So we'll just give it a few, maybe 30 seconds more. The bars look like they've stopped moving. And I'm going to end the poll now. I thought I ended the poll. Here, end poll. And share results. Am I sharing the results?
No.
What is happening here? Okay, I'm just going to relaunch the poll and see if that does anything. I am sorry, everybody. I have got some weird technical glitch happening here that won't let me actually share the results. I can just say what it is. So we got professional landscaper 19%, manufacturer 33%. Oh, Michelle, will it let you share the results on your side?
I don't have that option here. I have a get QR code or end poll. Those are
Can
my
you
two.
try ending the poll on your side?
Certainly. I've got an invalid polls ID.
I got the same thing.
Okay.
Oh, that's okay. So I'll just say what it is. So we've got 19% professional landscaper, 33% manufacturer, 10% equipment dealer, 5% other landscape industry professional, and 33% other. So I'm just going to X out of that one. And then we've got one more poll. So next slide, please. Let me see if it'll let me do that one. Okay, let's try launching this one. A poll has been launched in this meeting. It's not letting me launch this poll.
All right, hold on a minute, Ash. Let me see. I've got a different thing here. What if I
Okay.
share the results? Nope. Will allow me to. It gave me a different option this time, and it does not allow me to share the results. I was hoping to force it past this one.
Yeah. Okay, will this let me launch? Yeah, something happened. Okay, I've launched the second poll. Is it coming through for folks?
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. So with this one, we just want to gauge interest if folks would like to hear more about zero emission generators and pressure washers. So I'll just leave it live. We'll just give it a few more seconds. And we will see if this one lets me share. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll and share the results. Is that one coming through?
Yes, this one did.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm just going to leave the results there. I've got like 80% of the audience is saying yes, they do want to hear more about zero emission generators and pressure washers. And I've got 20% with a no. And I'm going to stop sharing now. Okay, and next slide, please. Okay, next we have power management devices or power management products can charge multiple batteries unattended. Several such products are shown here in this slide. Next slide, please. We have representatives from Exmark or Toro here today, and they will speak on their power management devices or smart charging. So I'm going to hand this over to Jonathan Guarneri, and we can go to next slide for him.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ash. I appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of this group this evening. Just to give you a quick rundown of what we'll be talking about. Obviously, the battery products that Exmark and Toro offer. We'll start off with our larger units that have dedicated battery systems to them. Then we'll move into our 21 and 30-inch powered units, and then conclude with talking about our handheld products that we have available. Ash, if it's possible, would you also be able to unmute Jose,
Yes.
as he will be, adding some additional information to what I'm speaking about in these next several slides. So if we could go to the next slide, please. So to talk about our larger equipment, we have two products that are available. One happens to be a stand-on unit. The other one is a seated rider. Some of the key features about these, obviously, these are electric products, which kind of, have the theme of, being electric and sustainable. For our stand-on products, the battery packs that are in there, there are 8 of them, which total 18.7 kilowatt hours, which gives us an average of about 7-hour plus runtime. So it more than enough power to get you through an entire day's worth of work. We have 2 chargers that are available. The one that comes standard with these units is a 1.2 kilowatt charger that can plug into your standard 120 volt outlet. And the recharge time on that from 0 to 100 is right around 12 hours. When it comes to the batteries themselves, they are a proprietary battery pack that we have designed in-house, and we refer to that as a hypercell power system. We obviously are using electric deck and wheel motors. That allows us to control those independent from one another, whereas on gas machines, the power that you have to your drive system also governs the power that's going to your deck motors. So you don't have the ability to independently control those. Whereas with electric products, we have the ability to maintain our drive speed while either slowing down or speeding up our deck motors, which can help in certain cutting conditions, whether it's cutting wet grass, where we recommend having a lower blade tip speed so you don't have as much clumping occur. But then at the same time, for dry grass, you're able to increase those deck motors and have the same drive speed. One of the things that was very important to us while we were developing these products was to ensure that the durability of these electric products is as good, if not better, than our commercial gas products. So making sure that they meet the needs of our commercial customer was one of our core principles, and really helped kind of drive where we went with a design standpoint. We do have a very robust warranty for all of these, and all of these products have gone through UL certification. And as the gentleman before was talking about, their switch over to electric products, there is a good ROI on this, the return on the investment, having less parts to maintain. For example, things like deck belts. We don't have deck belts because we have 3 independent motors that control those blades. Some of the other nice features that we get from having these electric products and having them be connected digitally is the ability to connect through something that we call Horizon 360, which allows us to manage that equipment remotely. And when I say manage that equipment remotely, I mean you have the ability to see where that product is, whether it's plugged in and charging, and things of that nature. So if we could go to the next slide, please. This is where we'll dig into a little bit on the Horizon 360 Connect. So it allows you to manage your equipment remotely. So all of our V series, whether it's the stand-on or the seated unit, which is our laser V series, have a cellular connection, which allows you to, again, see that remotely. You can see equipment information as to what exactly that piece of equipment is. If it is plugged in and charging, it will tell you that it's charging in the amount of time until it is fully charged. And then you're also able to see, GPS location and when that location was last received. Next slide, please. So just to dig in a little bit deeper to, the drive and power system. So the transmission on these are a planetary gear set, which makes for a very nice and natural transition from people who may have, been used to a gas-powered product that uses hydraulics to control them. That helps us to really mimic what the feel is like for the operator on these units, making them feel like a gas-powered hydraulically controlled unit, despite the fact that it's actually electric wheel motors. This gives us up to about a 10-mile-an-hour ground speed. So we're able to maintain the same feature set that we have on our gas-powered products, but now just being powered by battery, of course. I had alluded to before the power system, our hyper cells. On the stand-on unit, 18.4 kilowatt hours. On our seated units, we have 2 additional battery packs on there, which gives us 23.4 kilowatt hours. I will say that for the 23.4 kilowatt hour units, the charge time is a little bit longer. If you are charging 120 volt, it'll probably go from about 12 hours to 14 hours. When we look at the cutting decks and the spindles on this, again, we wanted to...
Jonathan.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Just so on the power system and the charging system, just wanted to make sure people do know that we do have a 220/240 charger option, which cuts charging time in half, and it could be used in either the stand-on unit or the sit-down unit. Just want to make sure that it's known out there.
Yep. Thank you, Jose.
Yes.
As far as our cutting decks go, spindles on our gas-powered units are very robust and very durable. We wanted to make sure we carried that over to our electric products. So we have nice 9-inch diameter cast aluminum spindle housings that do have a blade retainer on them, which kind of acts almost like a shear pin. So if for some reason somebody does run over something that isn't a piece of grass and they're trying to cut it, as opposed to damaging the internals of that deck motor, the blade retainer actually snaps, acting like a shear pin to prevent any damage to the motor itself. Our cutting heights on these units are the exact same as our gas-powered products, so you won't find any real difference there. You still have the same height of cut range from 1.5 inches to 5 inches in 1/4-inch increments. And like I said, these deck motors are, mid-mount, high commercial torque motors.
And the sit-down unit range is 1 inch. it can cut down as a 1-inch on our 60-inch sit-down unit.
Yep. Next slide, please. Now we're going to move into some of our, what I would call it's removable batteries. So this is for our commercial 30-inch and 21-inch, as well as our handheld products. So the batteries that are used for these two mowers that you see here in front of you can also be used with our handheld equipment. Next slide, please. So when it comes to these, again, it was very important for us to maintain our robust and commercial durability of these products. So essentially what we did here was we removed the gas engine that was on them and put an electric power head there. So we maintain our superior quality of cut. It's the same 5-inch deep deck on our 21s and 4.6-inch stamped steel deck on our 30-inch. We do have the same height of cut range as what customers may have experienced with our gas-powered products. It does have a heavy-duty wet clutch belt-driven transmission system. Again, like I was saying, all we did was more or less take off the gas engine and replace it with an electric power unit there. So you do have the two-bale control system to go ahead and engage those blades. 2.5 bushel bagger that is both on the 21 and the 30. On the 30-inch, you do have the ability to side discharge, rear discharge, which would then, you're bagging at that point, or mulch. And then as far as fleet points go, it's the same as, what we have for our current gas offering. Again, some of the nice things about getting rid of that gas engine and having an electric power head on there, you don't have any air filters to change, no engine oil to change. As far as the warranty on those go, whether it's used commercially or residentially, the mowers themselves come with a 2-year warranty. The battery and chargers are a 1-year warranty, and for what we call our wear items, so things like the bags and the tires, those come with a 90-day warranty.
So, Johnny, I
Yep.
just want to make 2 clarifications. The warranty for CARB in California, we are meeting the 2-year as expected for commercial units. So the mower, battery, and charger are 2-year manufacturer's limited warranty. Okay, just like our gas units. So that is, it's a 2-year all around on the units. That was changed a little bit after this presentation was done initially back in 2023 or so, after to meet the CARB regulations for commercial use.
Perfect.
And
Thank you.
And also for those customers that may be on landscapers that are on the fleet program, the point values have changed. So the 21-inch battery unit is 1, and the electric is 3. Or excuse me, the 30-inch.
Yeah, we're close to the 10-minute mark, so we
Yeah.
can just go like
Yep.
a minute longer.
Yep.
Perfect. Let's just real quickly go to the next slide there. So this is just going to talk a little bit about runtime here. So average runtime when you have our 10 amp hour batteries that are fully charged is about a 40-minute runtime. We do have, you see in that bottom picture there, a selector for the mode that it can go in. So you can go in a full low mode, which is going to just provide the minimal amount of power that's needed to cut there. What we recommend is leaving it in auto mode, and the motor itself is able to sense when there's additional load that the blades are encountering and will speed up or add more power to get through those cutting conditions. Or you could put it to max. The only warning that I put there is when you're on max, there could be situations where you're consuming more power than what's needed to complete the job that you're trying to do. And obviously all of the benefits that come along with an electric motor, you have no exhaust, push to start, quiet operation, and less vibration. If we can then let's go ahead and skip to not the next slide, but the following one, to just look at our handheld offering when it comes to whether it's a backpack blower, string trimmer, or hedge trimmer. You see those model numbers there, and obviously the commercial warranty that goes there. And then the suite of powering options that we have, whether you want to power it through a tether link or have a 10 amp hour battery. We do have a 6-pod charger or a rapid charger, which is that 60 volt 5.4 amp charger. Jose, anything to add there?
So if you were with a 21-inch and 30-inch, all these batteries with a handheld product, everything interchanges. And the running time on that 30-inch with the 3 batteries, it's actually about an hour and a half at 90 minutes. The 40-minute runtime is for the 21-inch.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan and Jose.
Thank you.
So we'll go to questions next. So next slide, please. Sorry, next slide. So we have invited Husqvarna to speak today, but they have declined for this meeting. So go ahead, go to next slide. And we have questions next. So we'll take questions about the smart charging technology talk. Please raise your hand using the raise your hand feature or type your questions in the Q&A. We'll take questions one at a time in the order they are received. And, oh, I do see a raised hand. So I've unmuted you on my end, Luis. If you will unmute on your end and then speak your question.
So my question regarding to that topic is, we're talking about the charging management systems, correct?
It's charging management systems and zero emission equipment.
Okay. So my question for the charging management systems would be, are they all universal for any platform, or each manufacturer is exclusively for just their batteries and chargers as well?
So to answer that, Luis, so each manufacturer for the batteries and chargers, they are for the intended models, right? Because the battery management system communicates with the batteries and the unit and the brain of the machine. So all that is controlled. So it's got to be for the specific models, a specific manufacturer. Now on the charging solutions that were talked about earlier, like TOA, that you can put multiple batteries and or equipment to plug into that is a distribution system. Those are applied to any manufacturer, can be used with those. Because that's more of a distribution of what you have available to charge the systems.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that was my question. Is just to get a little more understanding as to if it's exclusively for just one manufacturer. But yeah, the TOA it's more open for any battery platform.
Correct. The distribution, yeah, it's for anybody, and then you would basically plug in the charger to that TOA if you were using TOA, for example. But no, excellent question. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not seeing any more raised hands, and I'm not seeing any Q&A questions. Just give it a minute more. Yeah, no other raised hands or Q&A questions. If there aren't any more questions, we can move on to the next slide. Okay, so now we're moving on to the incentives panel. So we have invited representatives on our incentives panel to answer questions. Excuse me. Panel members include Air District representatives and Carl Moyer program representatives. So please raise your hand using the raise your hand feature or type your question in the Q&A. We will take questions one at a time in the order they are received, taking turns on spoken questions and Q&A questions. So next slide, please. Our panel members are from the California Air Resources Board, Joshua Lowell, who is an air pollution specialist in the Carl Moyer program. From the air districts, we have Adam Shapiro, who is an air quality program manager in the Strategic Incentives Division. For the Bay Area Air District, we also have Daniel Langmaid, who is a supervising staff specialist, also in the Strategic Incentives Division in the Bay Area Air District. We have Mariam Hajbabai, I hope I pronounced that correctly, who is in the South Coast Air District. We also have Heidi Yupe, who is an air quality specialist in the Ventura County Air District. And then we have Kevin Ng, who is a senior air quality specialist in the San Joaquin Valley Air District. And Eden Winifred, who is an air quality planner at Yolo Solano Air District. So what I'm going to do is look for questions in the raised hands or the Q&A. And I'm not seeing any raised hands or Q&A, but I do know that the Bay Area Air District just opened their program recently, and maybe they can talk about that first.
Hi, thanks, Ash. Yeah, happy to be here. And yes, we would love to share a bit. So we just launched a pilot commercial lawn and garden program. And so initially, uh, we're rolling out as a pilot to our what we're calling our AB 617 communities. And so we're purposefully rolling out as a pilot so that we can learn and as we work with local commercial operators in our AB6 communities, and we anticipate rolling out to a larger program throughout the whole Bay Area later this summer. So happy to answer any questions anybody might have. You're also more than welcome to visit our website. We have information about eligibility, grant amounts, and can, of course, answer any questions anyone might have.
Thank you, Adam. I see a question in the Q&A. I'm just going to read it out loud. This is from Luis Huerta, and his question is, what is the status of current manufacturers that finished the application process and are awaiting an answer?
Yeah, so at this point, we'll be reaching out again as we roll out our larger program later this summer. And so we'll at this point we're doing a pilot program, but we'll expanding it shortly. So appreciate the patience, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you, Adam. So I'm just going to mark that as answered live. So we've also put a bunch of links in the chat for contacts for air districts, how to look up your air district in your look up your air district tool. The zero emission landscaping equipment programs link is there, as well as zero emission landscaping equipment incentive programs. Michelle has dropped that all in the link. I'm sorry, in the chat. And I see some questions. So first question is from Luis Huerta again. Who qualifies for this program?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a commercial landscape program. So it's for commercial operators that have either a valid business license or a commercial license in one of our AB 617 communities. And so that can include, government agencies, schools, commercial landscaping and gardening businesses. So anyone that operates in these communities that has as a commercial landscaper.
Thank you. I'm going to go to the next Q&A question. This is from Brian Keene. He asked, can you elaborate on what the pilot program entails?
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. Thanks for the question. So it's a scrap and replace voucher program. And so the intent is to scrap your existing um, SOAR equipment. And so gas or diesel powered landscape equipment to replace it with a zero emission equivalent. And so you would go to one of our vendors that we have right now. We have 8 vendors that are participating in our pilot program. And so the goal would be that you would go there and you would apply for the program. And if you're approved, you would go and basically drop off your old equipment and go home with your new one. And the voucher would basically be a discount on the total cost of the equipment. And so vouchers range from anywhere from $700 to $15,000, kind of depending on the project type. So whether it's, a mower or a leaf blower, it'll depend. And so the goal is that it's a like for like replacement to scrap and replace existing equipment with new electric landscaping equipment.
I'm just gonna say both of these were answered live. Okay, we have another question. What is the difference between the pilot program and what you mentioned will go live in the summer? Also from Brian Keene.
Yeah, great question. So right now we're targeting it to our local AB 617 community, so we can kind of learn for the program and roll out a more robust program later this summer. And so the goal is to switch from a kind of local to our AB 617 communities to a program that's throughout the entire Bay Area. And so we want to learn this how the program is, how is it hard to apply? Is it effective so that we can roll out a more robust program later this year?
Thank you, Adam. I'm looking at hands. I don't see any hands raised. Oh, we have another Q&A question. This is from Luis Huerta. He's asking, when will the SoCal program start?
Hi, I just want to jump in here.
Thank you.
I'm Heidi with Ventura County Air Pollution Control. So our program launched in October 2024, and it's open for residential and commercial applicants. So this is anyone who lives in the Ventura County, and the commercial program is open to the landscaping businesses, nonprofit organizations, public agencies, and private schools, also non-residential property owners. And it's similar to what the Bay Area's program they were describing, where we have partnering retailers and the applicant goes through them, and they will receive a voucher from the district and go in and do their purchase, and it will be a point of sale discount, and the retailer is responsible for the destruction.
Thank you, Heidi.
It looks like we're also going to get an answer from Miriam. Miriam, I think we might be having a little trouble hearing you presently.
Oh, thank you, Joshua.
Yes. No. Oh, we could hear you
no
just for a
sound coming up.
second. We heard you
Can you
say
hear me
thank
now?
you. Yes.
There we go. It's coming through.
Great. Sorry about that. So, thank you, Joshua. This is Mariam Hajbabai. I'm a program supervisor in Technology Advancement Office from South Coast AQMD. So, as you are probably all aware, we have a commercial lawn and garden program that has been launched from 2017. This has been going on, and we accept applications for commercial lawn and garden equipment, pretty similar to what Bay Area has recently launched. Recently, in September, we got additional $5 million to continue this program from CARB year 24-25 fiscal year. So I welcome everyone to apply for our program. We keep receiving applications, approving applications, and this is an ongoing program at the South Coast AQMD. We cover for within our jurisdiction, which is LA County, Riverside, Orange, and San Bernardino.
Thank you, Mariam.
Sure, my pleasure.
Let's see. Oh, we've got another Q&A question. This comes from Anonymous. Will they be announcing new manufacturers for the programs for the SoCal and NorCal regions echo in question, Mark.
Yeah, I can answer that question for Bay Area. So for Bay Area, we regularly update our website, and so we have a list of approved retailers on our website. And so um, as we, right now we have a list of eight retailers for our pilot program. We'll do a request for additional retailers that may be interested in participating, and we'll update that on our website as soon as they're authorized and approved to participate in the program. And the reason we do that is just so that they're familiar with the process. They can help applicants navigate the application process in order to get that point of sale discount. I should also add that we do have about $15 million allocated to this program, and so we're looking to we welcome you all to apply and visit our website for more information.
Thank you, Adam. Okay, I'm going to look at the raised hands here. And we have a raised hand from Luis Huerta. So go ahead and ask your question, Luis.
My question for the pilot program in the Bay Area, the voucher amount, can we use that for multiple units, or is it just for one-time use per category?
Yeah, so for the pilot program, you can apply for multiple units. We do have a maximum voucher amount at this moment for up to $100,000. And so you could apply for multiple units if you wanted to do 10 units. If you wanted to do 1 unit, it'd be the voucher amount, so it would include batteries, it would include equipment up to that max amount. So you could kind of do either or.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you for clarity.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for the great questions.
Did you have another question, Luis?
Sorry, I don't.
That's okay. I don't see any other raised hands, and I don't see any other Q&A. I'm just going to pause to see if there are. Okay, we got one more Q&A question. We've got, what is the status for the Southern California manufacturers' applications?
Hi, I also jump in here again for Ventura County. Our manufacturers or retailers list is also an ongoing where we reach out to our local dealers. And we'll just sorry, my thought left. And they can sign on anytime in our program. But at the beginning of our program, we did reach out to a good amount of the local retailers. So we have around 8, but it is ongoing where they can sign on. That's also posted on our website. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. There's a raised hand. I've got Colin Iwasa. And I've unmuted you on my side. Colin, go ahead and unmute on your side and ask your question.
This question's been asked, but I think it's something that Miriam needs to answer specifically for Los Angeles, Orange County, and Riverside County about adding new manufacturers. When will that happen? Thank you.
Well, we currently have a list of, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We currently have a list of approved manufacturers and dismantlers and retailers. Recently, we got approval to execute new contracts. If you're not on the list, I would suggest you reach out to us and we can discuss.
Reach out to who?
Reach out to our program at South Coast AKMD. You can directly reach out to me.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that looks like it for the Q&A and raised hands. Colin, did you have another question? Okay.
Oh, sorry. No.
That's okay. If there's no more questions, we can move on to the next slide. Thank you to all our panel members. Appreciate you guys being here every work group. Okay, next, this slide is next up. We would like to request your input. This is for all our landscape audience on future workgroup meetings. Like, what topics do you want to see? Please share them with us, either through the Q&A right here, sharing by speaking right now, raise your hand and tell us. Or if you'd prefer, please email suggestions to us at landscaper@arb.ca.gov, because this workgroup is for you. Next slide, please. Okay, so this slide, we have listed a few contacts for the programs we discussed. If you have questions for us and didn't get a chance to ask them at the meeting today, please email us at soar@arb.ca.gov or at landscaper@arb.ca.gov. And we also have the Carl Moya help desk email there. That's the Moya help@arb.ca.gov, as well as the Clean Off-Road Equipment help desk. That's core@arb.ca.gov. We've dropped it in the chat as well. Next slide, please. Okay, so our next Landscaper Workgroup meeting will be held tentatively on March 4th, 2026. I also want to share like the upcoming Landscaper events they're listed here. That's the NorCal Landscape and Nursery Show. That's going to be on February 5th, 2026. And now we'll take questions. So let's look at the Q&A and hands raised. But do we have any questions? I see a question from Blake. Go ahead, Blake, ask your question.
Yeah, it's a question for the Xmark guys if they're still around. Are you guys gonna do a smaller than 60-inch electric zero turn by any chance?
At this point in time, we don't have any plans within the immediate future, just given kind of overall market conditions across the country. That's kind of where we're at right now. I would say, anything that we would be doing is probably 2 to 5 years out.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm not seeing any raised hands.
If I could go back and ask, you had asked for smaller deck sizes on the seated ZTRs. Is there a preferred deck size that you guys would like to see? Would that be a 52, 48?
Yeah, the 52 and 48s are what we have of y'all's gas stuff over the years. And we demoed the 60 and it was awesome, but we can't get it through gates.
Yep, understood. Well, honestly, that's very good and very helpful information to know. Because as we're going through our planning process, it's just very insightful and helpful to have good direction there of what exactly customers specific to this area are looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. We got a comment in the Q&A, and it's anonymous. They were like, Miriam, could you share an email if you're comfortable sharing? Could you share with them, please, Miriam?
Sure. Let me put it in the chat.
Thank you. I'm just going to call that one answered. I don't see any more hands raised, and I don't see any more Q&A questions. I'm going to pause just to give people a chance. Not seeing anything, so I'm going to hand it over to Christopher. to start closing out the meeting.
Yeah, thanks, Ash. And thanks everyone for your participation and attendance this evening. We appreciate Blake, you're taking the time to share your experiences with us, and the guys from Xmark and Toro for all the information about your products. Everyone on the incentives panel, thank you for joining us as well. And attendees, thank you for coming to the meeting, for participating, asking your questions. We hope it's been useful and hope everyone has a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.